Welcome to ZKast, everyone. I'm ZS Caravala from ZK Research, and I'm here live at Zoomtopia 2024. We just finished watching the keynote. I'm with Joe Rittenhouse, the co-CEO of Converged Technology Partners, one of the founders as well.
Yep.
And Joe, before we get into some of the content here, for those who don't know Converged Technology Pros, who are you guys and what do you do?
We're a technology services integrator that started out in the prem world, advanced to voice over IP, and we're one of the major cloud deployment vendors in the country.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of your competitors didn't make that shift going from prem to cloud, but you guys seem to have done it pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, it's we started about 2018, 2017, really started kind of picking it up from there, and just really we work with the Magic Quadrant leaders and are aligned with the Gartner Magic Quadrant.
Yeah, and I know your the volume of Zoom business has been increasing, so I wanted to get your thoughts.
It's increasing year over year.
Yeah, on the event and even the keynote this morning. So we just watched the keynote. We had a cast of different executives come out and talk about different innovation from Zoom. Just first, the overall impressions about Zoom innovation. It seems like this company is innovating just at a pace that we're not used to.
I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And walking out of here, one of my peers came up to me and said, like, "Is this even communications anymore?"
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's expand and the innovation, and it's touching everything. It's just advancing so fast.
Well, it is a good question. Is it? I mean, it's communication centric, but it touches.
It's not our traditional use of communications.
Yeah, where you get a line card update every 6
right.
months, right? So, yeah. Now the big news, I suppose, if I had to pick one, because there was a lot of news, was AI Companion 2.0. And AI Companion, of course, is Zoom's AI assistant. They rolled it out initially for workers. It's now available for contact center. But they had some pretty impressive stats around the usage of it. I think Smita Hashim, her keynote, in her portion, she said it's saving workers 6 hours a week, which is a pretty big number.
That's a huge number.
Yeah. What did you think of the new features, and what's your experience been with customers and the use of AI Companion?
Yeah, I think, hearing what they had to say and what they introduced today about 2.0, I think the interesting part is just seeing like how it's adapted and how it's integrated across the entire platform, and understanding like where those integrations are taking place, where competitively in the landscape, I think it's more of, and they talked about it, like everybody else may have some sort of AI flavor, but it's a bolt-on and it's segmented where it's at in the platform. And I think the Zoom platform, whether it's UC or it's WorkVivo or it's the contact center itself, it's all integrated within there, and just those integration touch points to improve those workflows. Like when they say workflows, I think for some organizations and customers, it's hard for them to conceptualize how it's going to improve that workflow. And some of these demos that we saw today, like, pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's one of those things too that I find any kind of AI tool, even with ChatGPT or whatever, Microsoft Copilot, the hardest part of adoption is getting people to try it. Then once you try it, you go, holy cow, this is fantastic, right? Summarize my email transcripts. So in fact, one of the interesting things that they rolled out was now you can run Zoom AI Companion and you're not even in a meeting. Right? Just turn it on for live meetings, which I think is great, because I use tools like that when I'm in in-person meetings, just because I don't want to have to go through the process of taking notes, right? So if it can take notes, summarize for me, it does save me a lot of time.
It does,
yeah.
and I think you're seeing things like beyond the table stakes of just transcriptions and summaries too. It's actionable intelligence.
Yes. Yeah, in fact, one of the things they had was the ability now to create tasks, manage all your tasks.
Right.
Which I'm not sure I like that. I drop a lot of that. I'm late on a lot of tasks, so I don't want it reminding me of that.
But it's pretty impressive. I mean, it is really truly an assistant versus just as an AI tool.
Yeah.
It's not conversational AI. It's not these specific swim lanes. It's very broad, that touches that entire platform and adds those efficiencies. It really, as it's labeled as an AI assistant, I think it's the only one that I'm seeing within the industry. I mean, there's segmentations of like a sales tool or accelerators or things like that, but this AI assistant is really there to make your life more productive.
In fact, the CEO, Eric Yuan, positioned it that way, right? It's not a virtual, it's really meant to be more that executive assistant. So if you think of an executive like him, he would have an assistant that whispers in his ear. This is Joe Rittenhouse, you talked to him last week.
Right.
You mentioned this and this. Right now, we all don't have that person that follows us around. Right. So now with Zoom AI Assistant, we can have that and can remind us of things and make us a lot more productive.
Yeah, I mean, to sit down and think about like within your Microsoft Teams environment or the other vendors that are out there, like you don't have that functionality. Yeah. Now you can sit down in that Zoom environment, you turn on your day, and it's all there.
The other thing that I liked in the announcements too was the connectors to the other applications, ServiceNow integration, Workday integration,
Salesforce.
Like yeah, and I think that addresses something that I've been increasingly concerned about is that every one of these applications has its own AI assistant, and as a user, I don't want 85 AI assistants.
Right.
So now if I have the ability for the AI assistants to be more cross-platform, that lets me take ServiceNow integration and bring it into Zoom, or Zoom integration to ServiceNow. And the real winner there to me is the customer.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that Zoom's really kind of flexed on here is their open API integration and what that ecosystem is, and like how important that's going to be here in the immediate future. Like for a while, it was just you weren't sure where all those integrations were going to fit, and it was just again communications and APIs and integrations. But now understanding how the AI assistant can work within those, it's really impressive, and we're not seeing that anywhere else in the marketplace yet.
Yeah. Now, second point, probably the most notable part from a company perspective, what they're doing is the growth in contact center, right? It's fair to say they're a late entrant into contact center, right?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of ZKast vendors, but boy, have they come roaring back.
Yeah, I think last night going through the Experience Center and seeing some of those demos that we saw, that was really, really impressive. Yeah. And I would say like maybe they were late, or maybe they were just right on time. What I was looking at is that where Zoom was coming at it, it was a disruptive technology. But actually, after seeing some of those demos yesterday, it's beyond just being disruptive to that middle market where I thought I had them segmented. It can go up market, it can go low market, and that AI tool is giving that cross functionality just even within the UC suite of like contact center light functions, and they're providing it for free. And so like that segmentation of like contact center and UC, it's usually broken, and with Zoom it's just free flowing. You need this, we got this. You want that, it's there. And it just kind of all flows.
So let me follow up on that. You've been working in this space a long time, right? And the industry's been talking about UCC integration for as long as we've had UCast and ZKast, I suppose.
And it's usually been pretty segmented.
Yeah, and there really hasn't been a vendor, I think, that's capitalized on that. Some of the workflows and things that Zoom showed I thought were pretty interesting. Being able to seamlessly, like if you're a salesperson, move from the sales process in Zoom to almost contact center light, right? And where are you seeing the value in UCCC integration?
Well, I think that's the biggest part is, right, everybody's just trying to improve that customer experience. And so those interactions that you can improve that customer experience, your efficiency, like talking about like those stats of getting 6 hours back in a day and being able to communicate with those customers and just be efficient and be on point of how you're delivering those needs. Like the UC and the contact center integration being tight within one pane of glass, and then again that AI tool that's the same between them, that's interacting these different plugins. The efficiencies that are being gained there, like they're pretty easy to put together and understand that conceptually you can do this, where I think in general there's a lot of theoretical use cases and people are theoretical marketing cases that are out there. This is practical and pragmatic.
Yeah, so you're a believer in that, the concept of using.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the third area that I want to ask you about, which they didn't really talk about in the keynote, was just the momentum behind Zoom Phone, right? They, when you think of kind of the coming together of all things you see, meetings, phone, right? Even webinars and things. Zoom's area of strength was obviously video meetings, and they added phones. And it seems like every customer I talk to that's a Zoom customer is now using Zoom Phone.
Yeah.
And what is it about Zoom Phone that makes it so attractive?
I think it's, watching the evolution has been really impressive. If you think about it, it's been, only 4 or 5 years since its really inception or something along those lines, and just the innovation that's come with it. But like what Zoom started obviously as the world's best video platform, and now like everything that we're seeing is it's kind of the engine to the train. And it's just enhancing those communications, just seeing the enhancements that they've had along the way. It's been really impressive.
Yeah, and the AI integration coming to that too. So pretty soon, I guess I think they said in 2025, you'll be able to use AI Companion on voice calls as well. So think of that from just your perspective. You have a meeting with a customer, you talk to them on the phone, now you get a summary of the phone call.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool.
And some of the other stuff that we saw last night in the Innovation Center was just some of the future-leaning things that they're looking at is like conversational, multiple languages, like just the efficiencies that they're laying out on their roadmap. Like they're starting to play with the largest Gartner Magic Quadrant leaders, and they're in that contact center space. Look what they've done with UC and contact center now. We're really bullish on what they have ahead.
Yeah, in fact, when they showed the Gartner slide, the MQ is one thing. That's
true.
I'm a little skeptical on that, but the peer review one,
the peer insights is a huge one.
Where they were the only one in the top right.
Right.
And I've always said if Zoom has one secret weapon, it's that users like Zoom more than I've ever seen users like an IT vendor. Like when you think of the big IT vendors, Oracle, HP, whatever, you don't often see users have a passion for it. But I think the one thing Zoom did really well during the pandemic was make sure everybody could use it. Now, in fact, I know one of your recent deployments, the CIO kind of backed into Zoom because of user demand.
Right.
Right, and that's in your mind, how important is that for their continued adoption?
Well, I think that's kind of what we're seeing. Is that's a good example. Is like it's being backed in by the user demand. The other thing that we're seeing too is just the culture and the excitement between this executive team and everybody that's here. It's like they're just pushing like the innovation, and everybody's believing in what they're doing, and they're providing a transformational service. And it's one thing to kind of get caught up in the marketing hyperbole of all this stuff, but to actually see these like use cases that aren't just theoretical, it's really impressive. And I think our job is to communicate to the customer to help say like, how do we get you from point A to point B? And if we have these use cases now that we can demo, there's an easy migration path, and we're excited to build these practices around them. Zoom is going to be one of our more strategic partners going forward.
Good. So anything else you want to add?
Thanks for having us here, Zoom, and it's great to see you again.
Yeah, and if people want to learn more about Converged Technology Pros, your website is?
www.ctpros.com.
ctpros.com. Okay, so appreciate you spending the time with me. So on behalf of Joe Rittenhouse from CT Pros, I'm Z.S. Caravallo from ZK Research, saying thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time on the next episode of ZKast. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks.